it's early. And that's because today I am driving to Long Island and we're gonna make the Sheep's Wreath class in person. I just so happen to have one here. Isn't she pretty? That's what I've been washing all the fiber for. And oh, it's so pretty. Look at these beautiful locks. So there's an in-person class today and tomorrow on the farm. And then there is also, you can buy the kits, that'll all be down below in the description box. And you can also purchase a workshop, which is a class tutorial. I kind of like to call them workshops. And that is on my website, Knit a Rainbow. All the information is in the description box. But early this morning, I wanted to open up my 2 yarn advents because I have to get knitting and I'm not going to be here. I'm going to be busy during the day. So I wanted to make sure that I got the footage for you guys. One thing that I noticed about myself with VLOGMAS is because I am filming every single day, it gives me the opportunity to let you see who I really am. And who I really am is not always done up. I do a lot of work like this, with my glasses on, with my hair from, the way I braid it the night before, and with pajamas on. And I want everyone to kind of get to know that side of me so that the perfectionist side that I feel when I come on to do my podcast, it's always like, oh, I have to shower and I have to make sure I have makeup on and do I have a nice sweater on? And honestly, it takes the real me out of it. And so I want to not only let you see really how I operate, but I want to give myself a break and just get the message out that I want to get out. And that is knitting, crocheting, creating, crafting should bring you joy. And it should make you want to get up at 6 o'clock on a Saturday because you are so excited to open your advents, or you're so excited to start that new color on a sweater. And my mission is to help you be able to feel that way. I don't want you to feel frustrated because you don't understand a technique, or, when you seam things together, they don't look pretty. And so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And so I just want to put that little bit in here. Okay, so Vita Lifestyle, day 2, and it's America. Ooh. I think I'm seeing a theme here with the colors. Look at these colors. And it, again, kind of matches the top of the box. That's super cool. And that would just be what Victoria does. So I am going to wind this up and get knitting on my quilted pullover day 2. I already did day 1. Which, do I have it? I do. I have day 1 done. So day 1, day 2. I'm so excited. Okay. Now, Suburban Stitcher, day 2 of Pink Christmas. Oh man, I do love pink. Oh. Day 2. I may have to make the quilted pullover in Suburban Stitcher as well, in all the pinks. Wouldn't that be incredible? So I wanted to also talk a little bit about the quilted pullover because that's the project that we're making. And each square takes about, oh, I have my, let me remind myself. So each one of these is about 20 grams. And I measured what I had left over and after knitting the first square, and I have 14 grams left over. So each square takes about 6 grams. We can do math in the morning on only 1 cup of coffee. What I want you to know is that you will be able to make more than 1 square with your sample. In fact, you're going to have to, because it has more than 24 squares. So if you were getting a little nervous or what do I do with the rest of this, you're going to have to make more squares with this. So you could either start a front and a back at the same time and put it on a separate holder, or do something like that. Like, each strip is there's going to be one on the front and one on the back. So you could do exactly the same thing, one on the front and one on the back. And hopefully I will be able to explain that a little bit better as we go into the knitting. So this took no time at all. And I was thinking to myself, ooh, I could get 2 done, right? And then have 2 strips or panels. I think panels sounds better than strip. But if I could have 2 panels done in 5 days, right? Because each panel is going to be at the most 5 squares. All right, and if you don't have the pattern is available on Ravelry, and it's in the description box, and it's called the Quilted Pullover, and that is what I am wearing in the thumbnail for this video. I will be on the farm. I will be filming. And I'll bring you with me. I can't wait. This Sheep Locks Wreath, the type of locks are Cotswold locks, and Tabitha has Cotswold sheep, so we're gonna see the sheep too. So I'll see you in a bit. Here is, why do I always say okay? Here is my regular kitchen scale, and I have it set for grams. Here is day 2, and I've put it on, and it weighs 20 grams. Now I have knit my first square, and here is the leftover. So I'm going to measure that. I'm going to weigh it, and it says that this is 14 grams. So I know 20 minus 14 is 6 grams. This took 6 grams of yarn to knit. I have plenty more with this ball. I can make 2 more squares and definitely have enough. And that's how you can tell how much yarn you're going to need, or how much yarn it's going to take. Crochet cast on. Let's get started. What you're going to need is a crochet hook. You're going to need the needles that you're going to be knitting, and the crochet hook shouldn't be too much larger than your knitting needle. It also should not be smaller. So here we have some yarn. We're going to start with a slip knot on our crochet hook. We're then going to take our knitting needle and hold it behind the crochet hook. Take the working end of the yarn, which I like to have coming over the right side here, and we're going to wrap it underneath the knitting needle, and we're going to grab that hook and pull it through the slip knot. We have one on our needle. Work the second one. Third, we're just bringing our yarn underneath the knitting needle and pulling it through the loop that's on the crochet hook. Now, the great thing about this is twofold. One, and I'll show you that the cast on edge is going to look exactly like your bind off. The second thing is look at my wee little tail here. There's no tons of extra yarn that you've used, okay? And the thing that could go wrong with this is if you're too tight with your cast on. So that's why it's good to either use a size up on your crochet hook than your knitting needle, right? You don't want to go smaller, and you don't want to be like super, super, super tight. But this goes by very fast. And then when you're one stitch away from how many stitches you have to cast on, so let's say we have to cast on 10 and I have 9 on here, you're going to take that last stitch that's on your crochet hook and put it on your needle. So now you can see that when you start knitting this, it looks like a bind off. Now, this is another thing, and this came out of necessity for me. One time I was going to use this method and I didn't have a crochet hook. So what I did was I used my thumb as the crochet hook. So I put a slip knot on my thumb. I held it up against my needle. I wrapped the yarn around the needle, and then I pulled. There's a little extra step. You have to pull a little bit because my thumb is much bigger. But this way is another way to do it. And I figured that out because I didn't have a crochet hook. So it's the same concept. Your thumb is actually acting as the crochet hook, and I'm pulling it over and then pulling it. And you can see that it looks like a bind off, but you just use your thumb.
Working with yarn, you can have a better perspective about, I always say, the ingredients, right? Because when I first started this years ago, I, first of all, didn't understand that there was a disconnection back in the day in terms of people as knitters, crocheters, not really being connected to where their yarn is coming from or what it's coming from.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I mean, there were people that would not even understand that merino was a breed. You know, they just had no idea what it was.